Hey, what's up, guys? You're listening to the It Takes a Village podcast. I'm Ashley, your host. This is where the struggles are real, the callings are heavy, the kids are sticky. We come together because it takes a village, and this is your tribe. Hey, what's up, guys? I hope you're having an awesome weekday. I wanted to hop on real quick and put out an episode because life is crazy. Things aren't getting out on time, which is totally fine because that's real life. And I work a 9 to 5, so I love that you guys are still hanging in there with me. Hopefully, you're still listening, sharing some episodes with your friends because there are a lot of great resources on the podcast. So today's episode is coming live from the break room at my work. But today I wanted to talk about the holidays and being sad during the holidays. This has been on my mind a lot lately because I have just been feeling so much gratefulness for the holidays that are coming up for myself because our family's just in such a good place. We have a new little one. But that isn't always the case, right? Like the holidays aren't always holly jolly and jingle bells and tinsel and magical this and magical that. And so I've just been thinking about you guys and how your holiday experiences can be and how it can be far from happy and more like a season of grief and sorrow and wanting to not be bombarded with the holidays and all these things. But maybe it's not just like the death of a loved one that brings sadness around the holidays. Maybe it's the fact that budget is tight, man. Like for us, we're just like, oh my gosh, how did Christmas get so expensive? And it used to be like that, and that can be a whole nother episode about how we kind of turned ourselves around and away from consumerism and the focus on that and the focus of getting our kids all the things and the biggest things and the best things, and spending less money. But for a lot of us, man, like you see everybody posting what they're getting and your kids are asking for this and for that and you feel the need to provide, but yet your bank account's like, nope, don't think so, right? And so like the dwindling of our bank accounts, um, the loss of a family member, unrealistic expectations. Oh my gosh, you guys, like having this expectation that the holidays is going to be one way in your mind, and then the realization that maybe because of time or money or whatever, you like it's not going to be that way, or maybe family is far. There's a ton of different reasons, especially family conflict, right? So there's a lot of reasons in the holidays that we kind of like, on one hand, we're pumped and we're excited, especially if you have kiddos. Like Christmas morning is the bomb. Um, but then also you have the family gatherings that can be not so fun. So, anyways, I just wanted to talk about that. So, if you're feeling me on what I'm saying and if you can relate, keep on listening because I want to share with you some tips. So, first things first, it's totally fine. Like, I want to tell you right now, your feelings are valid. It's okay to feel how you feel. But at the same time, there's a difference between the holiday blues, like the holidays bringing up feelings now and emotions and, all these things. Like it happens, and it happens during other holidays sometimes too, especially when a loved one that we cherished is lost. That would be my lunch if you can hear the, the microwave beeping. But there's a difference between the holiday blues and depression. And so I just want to say that so that you're aware, maybe if you're listening to what I'm saying, that you're like, oh, maybe this is something more. Maybe I should check that out or look into myself more and see if there's something more there. I will say that Facebook is a great resource for grief in general, but I know that there is so many groups specific and broad about grief, and finding a community that you can reach out to that understands what you're going through, because obviously we all experience grief in different ways and we're going through different things for different reasons, but usually there are things that we can still relate to because we've been through similar experiences. So finding that community and being able to vent there will make you feel less alone and less like abnormal, while everybody, it feels like, around you is accentuating all the happiness of the holidays. And we don't really talk about our family members who we're dreading seeing, or like that just doesn't show up, especially on Instagram. I mean, really not even Instagram, just social media in general. We don't really air our dirty laundry out like that. And so when you're somebody who feels like that is what you're in, like you that's all you see is the goodness, and you're just like, why me, and this sucks. And so I really highly encourage you guys to go find a Facebook group on grief, and you can even like narrow it down to like losing a loved one, or moving far away from family. Like there are so many groups, you guys. I've tried this out and searched on Facebook just random things, and there's literally a group for everything. So definitely use that to your advantage because you're on Facebook anyways. You might as well connect with people, which brings me to another um, thing that I want to point out is that when you feel this way, like, sadness or just kind of like the blues, I don't really have a better way of describing it, but we tend to introvert, we tend to like draw into ourselves more and not reach out. We just become loners and we end up wallowing in it and just being engulfed in this like darkness. And so try to really reach out to other people. Like, I know it probably goes against your grain if you're an introvert, but you know, it's the best way. Otherwise, there's just something about talking to somebody, whether it's a friend, a therapist, whoever, getting it out there helps to get it off your mind, make you feel less like engulfed in it, even if you journal it. So take this opportunity to reach out to somebody and be like, hey, you lost your mom, 2 years ago around the holidays. Like, how did you handle that? Like, how did you handle social situations where she would have hosted or been at or, led or whatever? Because most likely the people who have been through it and can totally relate and they're willing to tell you, like, hey, I've been there. This is what I did. Or, like, it's going to suck, but you're going to make it through. Um, and I think that it's really good for us to connect with others in general, but mostly when we're going through something difficult. So there's a fine balance, right? Like, I feel like with all these holiday parties and gatherings, you don't want to go because typically when we feel crummy, we don't want to go out and socialize and be happy and, whatever. But also at the same time, removing yourself from socialization and not allowing people to pour into you or to share their joy with you can also have a bad effect on us also. So I think for you personally, you have to decide, like, what is my balance in this, in the holidays and going out and socializing, and being okay with the fact that, hey, I'm going to show up, but in an hour, I'm going to leave. So at least you went, but then you're also respecting yourself and your situation and your feelings enough to say, like, I came out and I'm glad that I enjoyed these people and I let them pour into me or, share some of their joy and their laughter and their food in their home and their hearts, but now it's time for me to go home. Like, I think that's okay to be able to say or to set limits with yourself of I'm going to go out, and if I feel like I want to go home, that's fine. And I'm going to go home. Because sometimes when we get invited to events, we feel like we see the time, 5 to 7, and we feel like we have to stay there from 5 to 7, or people are going to notice, or people are going to care. And honestly, they don't, and that everybody gets too busy doing whatever it is they're doing, and everybody has things to do. So when you leave, it's not a big deal. And if it is, that's a them problem, not a you problem. So if you can't get out of something, just go and leave early. That is my advice for that. Your family may hate me, but then you can tell them I told you and they don't know who I am. At least don't tell them and we'll be all right. Also, y'all, create your own happiness this season. Sometimes we have families that we didn't choose, to be honest, and there's nothing we can do about it. We're stuck with them sometimes for life, in sickness and in health, right? And sometimes it draws us apart from our spouses, from our other families. Like, holidays can be drama. Like, let's get real. Luckily, you can create your own happiness. Like making, and I mean, this is for all things too. Like, I don't want to just say this is because you have family grief or whatever. But if you are just in general feeling the holiday blues, you can create your own happiness. And that's all you have to keep telling yourself is when you're faced with a situation that gets you down, that reminds you of the funk that you're in or the reason why you're cranky during the holidays, you can be like, you know what? I can create my own happiness. Forget y'all. Let me do this instead, right? So you can celebrate a loved one. If you're missing somebody that you lost recently, you can celebrate them by honoring a tradition that you've done with them for years or always. Or you can create a new tradition in honor of that person that you lost. So you don't have to just dwell on the fact that you lost them because I don't think that they would want you to do that, right? They would want you to celebrate them or remember them in a good way that would make you laugh and make you happy. And I think that a great way to do that is to come up with a new tradition or to honor an old tradition that you would do for them. If it's a situation like you feel everyone around you has family and you don't, and everybody's getting together and you aren't, and you're alone and they're, having parties and gatherings, or so it seems, because y'all, like, let me just say, everybody's holidays are not perfect. Like, let's get real. Even though social media would have us think otherwise, they are not. But if everybody, it feels like everybody around you is doing something, create your own gathering. Maybe it can't be on, Christmas or Christmas Eve. Maybe people have plans, or maybe this is something that you need to plan for next year. But get out of your comfort zone, open up your home, whether it's big or small. Y'all, I have seen so many ideas that are cool about hosting in an apartment. It can be done, you guys. Like, we had an apartment once. It can be done. You can have people. Like, don't sweat the small stuff, because that's not really what it's about. If you need to be around people and have gathering and just enjoy spending time with each other, it doesn't matter how big your house is, or if you have a backyard, or if you have serving plates, or if you have this, or if you have that. Like, just have people over, or meet up at a restaurant, right? Like, you can say, hey guys, let's go out for drinks, or let's plan a date to go shopping together. We all have to get gifts, like, let's do that. Or let's go painting with a twist together, something like that. And do it, like, and don't even, if you're one of the people like me who used to think of, I'm always the one who has to create the gathering. Like, I felt that burden of, oh my gosh, like, why am I the one who always has to organize everything? Well, then I listened to an episode on another podcast, Shalene Johnson's actually, and she totally reframed my thinking in that I'm gifted with the idea, or the skill of wanting to create gatherings, or wanting to get things put together, and it stays top of mind. I like doing it, and it's not a burden, it is a gift of mine. It's something that I get to do. And because it's not something, like, if I left it in somebody else's court, then it would never get done, because it's not top of mind for them. It's not a priority for them. They just don't think like I do. And so you just got to rethink how you think about, you being the organizer. Anyways, I can go on and on about that, but organize a gathering is basically what I'm trying to say. Get over yourself. Get yourself together with your friends, okay? Um, Priorities are important this holiday season. Like, sometimes we get down because of the gifts and because of the buying and stuff. And like I told you guys at the beginning of this episode, my husband and I changed our way of doing the holidays, in that we want to be really, really intentional about what we show our kids the holidays is about, and it not have such a gift or present buying focus, that it has a giving. Like, let's, especially since we told our daughter about Santa, it's about giving selflessly, being kind, obviously for us, because we faith is a priority. It's about Jesus and love and all these things. And so gifts are great, yeah, but we make that like probably the lowest priority. Except for like when it comes to their teachers, we're like, let's give back. That's a way of giving and pouring into your teachers. Like, anyways, um, I say anyways a lot, guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to honestly hurry this up before somebody walks in and catches me, because embarrassing. So making sure that your priorities are in line. If holidays are filled with consumerism and gift giving, and like that's not what fills you up during the holidays, if it's creating traditions and outings and just getting together with family, but yet like you didn't plan any of that, or for whatever reason things aren't lining up the way you would like it to, then make it happen, or make it more like that. So I think just thinking about, hey, what do we really want throughout this season? And then making that a goal, putting it first. Like, maybe it's that you want to do nothing. Like, you want to do less of it because last year was insane and you tried to do all the things and it just created stress and everybody was like cranky all the time and you're going here and there, all over the where. Um, Maybe so this year you're like, hey, like, I just want to be intentional about staying home, and us as a unit, a family, close knit unit, not the extended family, doing puzzles together, or we're gonna cook dinner at home, or whatever it is. Think about your priorities, and then you'll be more happier instead of doing all these things that you don't want to do or that aren't what fills you up for the holiday season. Unfollow those grammars that bring you down. Like, you can always follow them again, you guys. So that is something that I do all the time on social media, is you can hide somebody's feed on Facebook. You can unfollow somebody on Instagram easily. I mean, come on. They're not going to notice, and it doesn't matter what matters is that whenever you get on, if it's constantly subconsciously bringing you down because they're, financially more well off and they're showing you their trips to Colorado in this Airbnb that's so great. Um, or, which I guarantee you guys, they're fighting at the Airbnb. They don't take pictures of it, but they're fighting. No, I'm just kidding. But I just want to continuously remind you that not everybody's holidays are awesome, and we often don't show that on social media. So if that bothers you, if, people taking pictures with their moms or like their moms doing things with them and are in town and there's all these tradition things that people are posting about, then unfollow it. They can still be your friends and you take a pause for a season and then hop back on. And if they do notice, say, hey, I love you to death. I didn't mean any disrespect by unfollowing you. You're still my friend. I just want to let you know that right now I'm, having a hard time because my mom isn't here, or my uncle, or my aunt, or my brother, or my sister. And I've just been seeing all of your pictures, which are so great. And I'm so happy for you. But for right now, it's only reminding me of my loss recently. And so, I'm just taking a break for right now. And I hope that, you continue to have your joy and, whatever, or whatever you say, like, but it's totally fine, and unfollowing is a life giving thing sometimes. Also, let's see. I'm reading my notes, y'all. So, focusing on the good, I think that for me, if you're like me, I used to be a person who always was a what if person. What if this? What if that? And I would like go down a deep, dark spiral before events or it even happened with all these scenarios, and they would be negative scenarios. So, try to really push yourself to think of the good. And one thing that has helped me get through the holidays, because my family, let me just tell you, now I'm blessed with a really good family. I feel like my husband's family, who is awesome. Um, but when I used to grow up with, and it was my parents, like, and just me, it wasn't a great environment. It wasn't always fun. And so I would just like already before going to Christmas with them or a holiday with them, I would dread it. And so already before I even got to, the holidays, I was already in a bad mood about it. And it tends to, as silly as it sounds, like whatever your mindset is going into it, that's typically what happens. Versus when I've taught myself to just be excited and, like I'll mentally picture myself not being phased by the irritation that a relative will give me, or like, the inconvenience it is to deal with this or that person, and I just picture it in the opposite way, in the best way possible, then I tend to be less on edge. They tend to irritate me less. It tends to feel less like an obligation or an inconvenience. And so, anyways, I just wanted to share that tip with you guys because that is something that I want to be honest with you about when I do these episodes, is that sometimes I can relate and sometimes I just relate from another perspective because I've heard somebody talk about it or I've read about it, or but I think it's important for us to be honest with each other, because I don't want to be that Instagram feed that makes you feel like your life is, subpar and mine's great, because I guarantee mine, mine definitely has its issues. And yeah, I just want to be open with you guys. So make plans, grieve, join a support group. Everybody, you are allowed to grieve however you want to grieve. That is something that I've learned from a book I read called Plan B. I can't for the life of me remember who wrote it. She's somebody that has to deal with Facebook. I'm trying to think. Dang it, I can't remember. Anyways, if you look up Plan B, it is about grief and this woman losing her husband. Dang, I can't remember her name. But anyways, it's just that like her family and her kids grieved in different ways, and it was just an awesome realization that no person grieves the same way, and it's totally fine that we don't. And sometimes we expect others to, and we don't understand it, or we see it as disrespectful. Like, I think it was, she wanted to sleep a lot. Oh, actually, you know what? It was Anna Whitston Donaldson, A Rare Bird, I think it was called, about her son. They lost their son, who drowned tragically in their neighborhood. And she wanted to sleep all the time and be alone and kind of just be with her feelings and, write. And he wanted her husband's way of grieving was to go out and socialize and kind of take his mind off of it. Although, like, from her perspective, she was like, how could you celebrate? How could you be feeling all these things and ignoring it and being happy and laughing? And he was like, I think about it every single minute. And for him, that was too much. And so he had to take his mind off of it for a second. But, from outward perspectives, it can feel like dishonoring or disrespectful, or you can't understand it. But, anyways, I don't know why I'm going on a tangent about this. Just that if you're a family who is going through something, just know that you guys are going to grieve differently. And on the outside, it may look like they aren't or they're not struggling, but they totally can be. We just all deal with things different ways, family situations and all that. So I hope this episode was helpful for you guys. I've kind of gone off on rabbit trails throughout the thing. I just want to let you guys know that I'm thinking about you. I know that my Instagram feed so far has been, things that we're doing as a family that are fun, that are happy. And I just can't help but thinking about how there are seasons in my life during the holidays where it wasn't this way. And unfortunately, social media wasn't around, I would have definitely shared about it because I'm definitely a vocal person, but I don't want to be one of those people who make you feel like you're the only ones, because that's not true. And you are definitely allowed to feel the way you feel, and it sucks. And my heart goes out to you for whatever reason. Like if your kiddo's in the hospital, Mama, we went through that season too, or we spent a week in the hospital with one of our kiddos while I was pregnant, might I add. So, um, you know, we may not have all the same exact situations, but some of us can sometimes relate to a scenario because we've been through something different or similar. So feel free to reach out to your community, create new communities, make the holidays something that you um, can get through, and know that it's seasonal. Like if it'll pass and we'll get through it. You're so loved, if not by your family, but by hopefully your friends here. You can always reach out to me, message me. I'm happy to like connect with you guys. I love it. So I hope this was helpful. I'm gonna stop rambling. I'm gonna get out of my um, work lounge and eat my lunch and go back to work and do what they pay me to do. So I hope you guys have an awesome day. I hope this was helpful. If you don't already, make sure you share these episodes with some friends because, like I said, there's some awesome resources on this podcast and awesome women who are trying to pour into you guys. So I am done. Catch you guys later.